Hey, welcome to Brew&Techreview. In this video, I'm going to review the anodized Purple Mac Pro. I'm going to be assembling it. It's going to be a two-part video. And before I begin, let me just talk about the beer I'm having here, which is from Devil's Canyon. It's a golden stout Scotch barrel aged. It says here it's a golden stout aged for 22 months in single malt Scotch barrels, and it is, my goodness, 13.8%. So that's a lot. But here's the beer, and clearly it's not dark like the normal stouts that you guys get. And definitely, I would say it's smooth, but it has a strong aftertaste, and definitely take your time drinking this one. And again, I don't condone underage drinking on this channel, so if you're under 21, please probably don't watch this video unless you're just interested in the tech. And also, everyone drink responsibly. I don't encourage underage drinking. Clearly I'm at home and building computers, so I'm playing it safe. And everyone else, enjoy the video. In this step, I'm going to show you guys how to put back whatever this is to hold the door in place. I have the screws all aligned. Basically, you just pop it over. Make sure you get your little plastic tabs fixed and aligned, and we can fix that later. But we're gonna line up all these holes and start screwing in. And just like that, we got this securely screwed on. And here's that beautiful Apple logo. So the screw threads hold, which was great. Chris, my anodizer, I asked him nicely to plug those up. And that goes for all the anodized pieces because of the anodizing part itself is a acid, and it could burn through anything non-aluminum, and I'm pretty sure these are not aluminum, so, but everything's there. I'm gonna try to put on the power button here, and power button's really not that hard to do. There's a few pieces, but let's get into it. So the light indicator is going to go there, that's why I'm putting that there. And then oh, that's right. My bad, did this backwards. So you want to put the power button in first, and because it's a bigger piece at the end, that's telling us which side is up, and it just flushes right in. Then I believe it's this piece facing inward, kind of give it that push, and then the power button with the light indicator that's covered by that black rubber piece is right there. And to make sure we have that in correctly, I'm gonna test it. After testing it, I realized it wasn't pushing. That's because this piece, I'm moving with my finger right now, the springy side to it was facing the other side, and clearly you could tell it goes in that way because that's angled there and it's kind of pushed down on that, so that's the proper way to do it. And then we're gonna apply this, and then we're gonna look for that metal, this little locker piece to get in there. Kind of hard for me to hold the camera while putting that in, but basically that ring, it's kind of hard to push in, but you got to kind of like tuck it underneath the purple part right there. And once it's in, then you're all good. Just be careful of the cords, and I've accidentally scraped these with, trying to, squeezy that in, but
the power buttons still work. Clearly, you know, we're gonna plug this in later. But the reason why I do this first is because once we assemble it onto our main piece there, it's gonna be really hard to get in there with your fingers and whatnot. Next part, I'm gonna do the fan. So previously this had the original Apple like grayish fan, and I have here I believe it's in this next video. What I'm actually gonna do is do the fan, I think, towards the end, but I'm gonna have to drill holes to make that bigger. Now, originally that had the Apple, the grayish fan, and I had to pull that off with the little rubber like connectors or whatever it was that was holding the fan in place. I had to peel that off because, well, as you guys may see, taking apart this from the main piece, and here, let me flip that around. This was sitting in this piece, which was really hard to take off considering the fan was blocking some of these screws, and there's screws on the bottom of this, which was also really hard to access, especially the middle one with the fan being there in the way. But what I like about these fans is it's a straight color, it's white, it's PWM, so it has that 4-pin connector, which is the same connector as those gray fans, and you can also get them in other colors. For me, I'm doing a white because it would be kind of cool to see white LED fan, or at least the ring will be white LED, and to see that kind of glow through the grating would be kind of unique. But again, if you guys are wanting to stick to the original fans, by all means, you guys can. Again, there's no difference in fan speed, or I don't hear any loud noises in my previous builds. But with this project, in order for the screws to go through, I'm gonna have to drill a hole that's a little bit bigger so that this thing could just screw on in a little bit, smoothly. And it should still hold in place. I never had an issue with the fans popping off. So let me just drill that hole a little bit bigger. And again, with this screw that the fan kit came with, it's just a standard fan screw, and it should hold, yeah, if I drill the hole a little bit bigger. Yeah, drill for it 1364, and the screw there goes through. Again, that is a 13 out of 64 on the drill bit length, or drill bit width. All right, so this is how the screening fan goes right here, and power supply goes here. Right now I'm gonna apply these little like nuts and just kind of screw it in by hand. And a lot of this stuff can be done in hand. You don't need any kind of like tools, especially no ratchet. I mean, I might use a ratchet for some stuff, but again, these are very fragile, especially after the anodized stripping. So hand tight's fine. And then I'm doing this now because after this, it's putting this together with the other big piece, and then we'll go from there. But the fan I would do last, just because of trying to get these screws in here and trying to get the fan at the same time. It's like wait for the fan at the end. It's just really hard to put it all together. But that is that, and then it's time we put this upside down. So basically it's pretty simple how to put this over one another. I mean, basically I'm not going to screw in anything to the fans, but what I am going to do is fix this alignment. We got these we got to screw in, and those phone, but we're basically applying these bars which are going to hold the piece together. And the reason why I didn't get this piece anodized, the original silver piece, is because this antenna, right, using a heat gun to take it off, and I could tell like these aren't really, like, I don't know if they're normal screws or not, but it gets more complicated and harder to like play with and fudge it with. And even then, like taking apart the little latchet here, Like, that was just like really complicated for me to do. And bringing this to my anodizer, he mentioned like, you know, trying to wrap like something like this plastic sticker or whatever might be underneath this. I believe it's a Bluetooth. It just gets more complicated and a little bit more stressful. And there's just some things that I don't want to necessarily detach. Gets a little bit more complicated, and it's expensive because, you know, as you can see, I have these normal screws that go into holes like this for the anodized piece. And I'm happy with just seeing the front view and the side panels. I mean, this is going to be the main portion. Once you guys see at the end, you guys will see what I'm talking about. But, you know, if you guys are using these machines still and just for the back ports, you know, I mean, the back just isn't as pretty as the front, in my opinion. And you're just plugging stuff in. If you're always having it plugged in, you're not really caring what's in the back because the power button's in the front here. But with all that being said, yeah, let's, I'm going to stop recording to kind of put it together and show you guys a little bit more. In my last video, I was just talking about not using a ratchet, but, you know, if you had to use the sockets, you kind of, like I said, a hand tighten, you can. And I'm just getting this piece started. I'll try doing a time-lapse video of just putting it all together using a tripod. It won't be the best, but I'll try to do the best that I can to just, you know, record what I do. And again, feel free to ask me questions. I'll do my best to comment. And yeah, with that being said, like, now that it's kind of more aligned, you can see the original silver parts of the screw threads, and this is still part of the original part. Let me flip this around. And to show you guys better, like, this is what I'm talking about once this piece is really, like, screwed on more secure. Now, this part isn't really going to be that big of an issue because once we get the main wrap around, this is going to be covered. And you'll see the sides. That's usually part of the door, but you're going to see the big handle parts being applied later. Like I said, this little bracket is what is screwing in. And kind of hard to get in there because just, you know, it's exactly like touching side to side. And of course, I'm dealing with like a little bit of a, like, just, you know, it's got to go at an angle, kind of slide it in. I mean, again, incredible Apple engineering. And even after taking this thing apart completely, like I did, it just kind of fits in there. Kind of still hard to record as I'm putting this piece in. Let me, like, at least give you a demonstration. Just like the top piece, which I got to still do all those little nuts. I'm going to do this, but not record. Before I start really tightening this down, this was that top piece I kind of struggled with the last clip, where that piece kind of fit on a lot smoother. You also want to apply the little nuts on these screws to really put in place this main frame. Now, there's not any on this side because this is the back panel piece for the big well, Apple logo and handles, the main frame. I'll show you guys soon. The other side is just the door panel, which is super simple. And the latchet, you can tell, like, the little locks are not on this side. And I'll demonstrate some more videos. Now, because this is a 2008 Mac Pro, and it's very similar to the 2006, 2007, they have these little special screws that the 5.1 doesn't have. I don't truly know the purpose of this either. I'm not sure if it's part of the locking mechanism. I think it is, because the front, the side, and maybe the fans, you got to screw in those, and that's the only difference there. And also help screw this down, I'm going to start applying the screws right here, just 3 of them. They're these really nice, smoother ones, shiny, but they have the little groove dip thing in there. Using my little ratchet tool here. It's pretty handy and nice. Like I said, this might be the only time, you know, to really use a tool. Like, I don't want to over tighten and then strip something, but it doesn't have to be securely tight because, like I said, once we get the handlebar piece on, which is really hard to do because it's already, like, tight as it is, then everything else is just smooth and sailing. I will be doing this, just kind of screwing as I go. Maybe I could try doing this recording with one hand. Or, you know, record and do this. Let's see here. Now the fun part, the fan. And just like that, we're gonna just align the screws. With the screw fan installed and the wires gone through, I just remembered, don't forget these screws. Now, depending on where you go to get yours anodized, not guaranteed. I had my anodizer specially anodized. You guys can see it, the black piece right here. He kind of sealed those up, wrapped them, and not guaranteed that they might work, just because in the previous times they were just burned through, and it didn't bother me because this build is pretty sturdy as it is. But it looks like because he did wrap them specially that I can easily screw these in now. Because I'm screwing it in this side, where supposed to that, I believe they go screwed in on the other side, but I'm just screwing it in just for, you know, the heck of it. And then the reason why I'm saving the DVD drive last is because when we put the main piece, you're gonna have to put in the little screws that go in here, and the CD thing blocks that view. Last but not least, this is our big piece that I was talking about, saving it towards the end. So clearly, there's only way to really put it in. I mean, I don't think you could really mess this up, because I think clearly it's gonna know how it goes aligned. One, Apple logo, all original, pretty awesome. But if you look at this, wow, beautiful work. You can kind of see where the original like piece kind of goes as far as screws, but yeah, so we're gonna have to like pry this open, this and this, and kind of like, if I could demonstrate with my arm holding this. Shoot, hold on. Trying to hold my phone, I can't really do it. But we're gonna like basically pry open it up to kind of squeeze that in there. I will do my best to actually record that part, because that is gonna be the most important part right there. Putting that in here. All right, so here goes nothing, and I know I'm doing this the correctly because with this Apple logo, we want it, you know, we know this is the top side, right side up. And by looking at this, we know this is the upside because the fan, the DVD drive, power button down here. So we're pretty much just, and just like that. And just like that, the bottom piece kind of goes in pretty smooth. That was good. But now we gotta really kind of push it through whatever, you know, holes we can get it through. Also, keep in mind your Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi antennas are not seeping through. I'm gonna take a break because I'm actually, since it's halfway in, I'm gonna actually start feeding some of my power supplies to kind of make the job a little bit more easier. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, so with the cords, I got this amazing LED light strip that powers through what I guess you would plug in those DVD drives with, the power source. And I'm gonna actually feed this also through. So I did feed the power supplies through, and now really try to just get this more in there and with caution. So it will be tricky though. You gotta figure out how to get it in there. Probably best to lay it flat. All right, and then let's see. So I'm having trouble actually trying to squeeze that in. Let's see, there we go. So it looks like I'm getting the bottom piece in. Now, time for the top piece to kind of bend that out, hear a click, and there we go. And the best part is, I'm glad I didn't really scratch it up on the top here, because sometimes kind of squeezing that in could be rough. And again, even though this kind of was a little bit dinged up and scratched from the top or in the beginning, it wasn't like that bad. It wasn't that big of a deal. Now this is a little bit of an older style Mac Pro, so of course it's not my favorite. This is magnetic, by the way, that LED light strip. I'm gonna start tucking away some cords here because, again, this is not even my favorite build right here. It's a little, can be annoying. Yeah, so the motherboard, that's gonna be the next project to put together. And again, it's a bunch of cords and wires, and I'm not a fan of. I am a fan of, it's fun, but projects, right? But there you have it, folks. That is the anodized Mac Pro, and I still need to put screws together. I will be making some more videos on that. This might just be a part 1, part 2 series, but open the lever there, close the lever, and that is the Mac Pro, and in purple. And yeah, look how beautiful that thing looks. I mean, I can't wait to see this thing running with the white LED lights inside, and you can just open up the panel and just be amazed. Look at all those screws. My goodness. So that's what I'm talking about, people. Here we are. Welcome to the second portion of the channel. Moving some of these cords out of the way because, well, this is where the very long part comes in play. And also what gets annoying is, well, moving cords around, but you got to screw in these special little screws, hex screws. Has like a little special like mushroom shape, I don't know, like a little plug up, and they're gonna be screwing into, well, for example, screwing into this. And yes, this is the fun part, getting in all the screws and kind of, yeah, see, I can't even do it with my fingers. So we got to do that, and then once we do all that, I think I'm gonna do the power supply next, because these screws suck for just taking apart things. I think after the power supply, I'm gonna do the motherboard, and as you can tell from the angle here, these are raised a little bit because that is where the motherboard will be sitting on. And then I don't know, maybe before the motherboard, I might apply the SATA things. Also, here's our white LED light bar that's magnetic again. And when I slide in my SSDs, I'm gonna try to have that little LED bar like between the spacer for the caddy drives and the SSD and the 2.5 and 3.5 inch, whatever it is, the 3.2 whatever SSDs into hard drives. So basically, like, you'll rest there, but that's gonna be the fun part. Again, I have that white LED fan. I gotta install the 2 white LED fans that go in that little like plastic cover for the fans, the 2 fans that go in front that cool the whole system. And then we got this fan here, or the fan that clips in with the RAM slot thing. And then yeah, I'll do my best to record everything I can as I go along. As I'm like already like applying the screws in, I mean, trying to find videos of other people trying to take this thing fully apart kind of isn't out there. And I mean, you got to be crazy to like do what I do or anyone to try attempting taking this whole case apart, because there's just way too many screws. And I think real quick, I'll try to flip my phone that I'm recording on to kind of explain the camera view here. So like the screw holes, if that helps, yeah, you have to like go underneath here, and it really sucks, especially when you hit the what is it, the Bluetooth antenna or the Wi-Fi antenna. Like there's a screw hole there, I think, is my finger feels it. Got to kind of get your, grip on that. Not to mention, you got to go underneath this part too. So, like I said, Apple engineered this perfectly. And again, if you can't get all the screws, pretty sure this is still pretty sturdy due to the fact that you saw the last video. Clipping it in, you just start hearing the snapping. I mean, this is a metal that's like, you got to really apply some pressure to kind of pry open. But yeah, once we get all the screws in, it's pretty sturdy at that point forward. Again, it helps if you have like a magnetic, very long screw holder, hex screw thing. Okay, so it's good if you have like a very long extended hex screw connection thing. This is from the iFixit toolkit, and my camera, gotta say, iPhones, right? They just can't focus and zoom in right away. But there's the hex screw, and there's a better visual of it. And there's my, of course, iFixit kit. Now, what's nice is this is a little magnetic, which is still very helpful. In trying to place, let's see if I get the screw going on. All right. Focus, focus, focus. Still trying to focus. There we go. So there we go. That's like best way to put it is get that. And then I have a this tool right here. It's part of the Milwaukee, I think is the brand. Yeah. Like as far as power drills go. But as you can see, like I said, it's very difficult to kind of like get in here. And even though I did put my screw fan in, I think we're good on that side as far as screw holes, because this one is right there. So easy access. So this one's the closest you'll get to the fan. I'm just hand tightening it for now, but hopefully, there we go. So I'm gonna count how many screws there are. I'll probably mention that towards the end of the video. I'm just focused on reassembling this, and like I said, you could try hand twisting it to get it started, but it's nice to have a little magnetic hexa screw thing. More screw holes, and then this is the reason why I haven't put the power supply in yet, because there's a bunch of screw holes hiding. Even like I said earlier, the DVD sledding tray, whatever, it's still like, it blocks your way of screwing these out. So, and in the future, I will do my best to answer some people's questions on this build, and also hopefully maybe I'll have like a friend record me while I do this, because doing this by myself with holding the phone, it's very hard to do. And also, if I were to have a better video of just taking this thing apart in the first place would be better. I'm just assembling it, putting it all back together. So talking about reversing this situation, it might be a little difficult to explain, but yeah, like I said, I can't wait to put this all together. And as you guys can see, I pretty much got all the screws that I saw that had to be done. And next up will be and if you guys were curious about those holes right there, those are what I drilled out last time. Nothing goes there now. But now I got to do everything from under here and under here. So that's going to be tricky, and I won't really have any kind of video to record that. So for the tricky part, what I'm kind of doing is aligning where the hole might be due to the opposite side. And I'm trying to get a feel for it with my finger here. Sometimes I just use my fingers to kind of get it started, or the magnet side. Let's see here. So there's the hole, right? We could see that easily. Use a camera, do what you got to do. Hold on. The magnet always sucks, right? But be cautious, be gentle, have a lot of patience, and you'll get it right. Doing this a lot now, and I just kind of know. And like I said, you could do hand type, but I've been using the little small ratchet here and do a few turns, not too much, but that just about does it for tightening it down. And then the one that is hard to do is this one right here. Trying to get that in there, it's really tough. But yeah, you could try your best. If you do miss it, like, it's not the end of the world. And then also what is tricky is clearly trying to screw it in with the little nuts in the way. I see that I have another hole there. So I'm gonna try that one real quick. As long as you get like the end pieces, I think you're gonna be more safe. And the more screws you put in, the better you are. It is gonna be very tough to do. Back again with another beer. This project is just taking forever. I also have a full-time job and just not enough hours in the day and just super busy. But hopefully today is the day I finish this project. But first things first, let's start with a nice drink. So this is from South Lake Brewing Company, located in South Lake Tahoe. And this is Imperial Stout, bourbon barrel. Been doing a lot of stouts lately. And this is pretty strong. Whew, boy. Let's see. Government warning. I'm trying to think where it's out. There it is, 11%. So this one, let's see, I had one of those nice waxing covers on a bottle. Yeah, I would say it's pretty smooth. Really, you can taste like a bite to the stout taste. I mean, it's a bite, aftertaste, but not bad. Pretty good. I think I prefer this bottled over the one that I got over at the tap room taster. But yeah, really nice. I like that it's refrigerated. I could probably drink this slowly and let it hit room temperature if I needed it to. So yeah, let's try to finish this project up today. And the power supply cover, just as important. I mean, putting it on, off. Obviously, you can probably tell it's not gonna be that hard. It's always gonna be flushed against the power supply because, plugging it in, goes in the back there, and it's flush. But align the holes, and then if you see here, this little curvature bend, this is like, that's how it's supposed to go, with a little bit of extra room out here. And what's also important about this is if you do get it anodized, don't forget these need to be plugged up as well for the screw holes, or else if they don't screw in, you're not going to really have a cover. But that won't be a big deal, it just might look ugly on the inside. But also maybe bad airflow. But again, power supply different. Now it's like covered, and your main thread screw holes go there. All right, so now up next, I'm just gonna go ahead and apply the power supply, feeding it through this. Let's see here. And then pretty much once you kind of have to get the cables behind the fan, but good thing there's an opening. And yeah, this is where the tricky part comes in, so I'm not going to be able to record all. And just like that, kind of tucked it in. Gotta kind of use your finger to maybe apply some pressure on this, kind of pull it forward. Very difficult to play with. And once that's there, you could start applying the screws before you even do the motherboard. Do the hard part first, right? And we'll screw that in. So now that I got my power cable in, now it's time to do the little bit of a tricky part here, which is kind of maneuvering, making some clear space. What's nice is I see that this is lettered C, and that's C, but I see J3 and P3. So I believe the J and the P are kind of like what connects each other, but I know the C and the C should go together. I'm not sure why the Apple labeled the P to the J, but they should be able to just kind of function. And looking at how Apple kind of paired these, they're a little bit more separate, so it should be simple. And most of these, like I think this is what, 5-pin, that's a 6-pin, so it's going to be self-explanatory on how to connect it all back together. So once you get all of them connected, it's pretty easy. You could just put the metal plate that blocks all this and, you know, push this off to the side and put that metal plate on as well. Again, this is the 3,1, the 2008 model, and the 2,1 and 1,1 model are pretty close to the same. And also, with this free computer build I got, like, this little mechanism kind of failed, so I got it replaced with the 1.1. Again, thanks to another Facebook Marketplace and maybe soon to be a fan. He gave me a free 1,1 2006 Mac Pro. I saw it on the Marketplace for free, and I just said, hey, I would love to have this. And I showed him my anodized Mac Pros, and he's like, sure thing, dude, like, pick it up. And there was another person on the Marketplace that had a 2007 2,1, and basically what I found out later was the 2,1 2007 had a bad power supply, so I swapped the power supplies. And the 1,1, I just thought, I'm not going to mess with it too much, just, you know, I mean, sure, it needed a new power supply, but I was just like, you know what? I swapped the power supplies, and not to mention the 3,1 2008. I just wanted this to have a better lever. Again, that this 3,1 was also free. Thank you again to my you know, fan base and Mac Pro groups, and just thanks to Marketplace. After swapping a few of the parts, I got rid of the 1,1 to one of my actual Apple techs here in Novato, and he, you know what, he does so much favors for me. I just figured I give him the 1,1 if he needed it for any kind of other parts other than the fact that the power supply was dead. But here is that, and let me go ahead and install that metal plate there and continue on putting this together. My least favorite part is, to be honest, the sled drives, and you guys might see why it's my least favorite part. I mean, this has got to be, I love Apple design, but it's like the worst to like install on any Mac Pro, and I'm trying to get it perfect. So yeah, they're gonna fall off, and they're also gonna be just, you know, flimsy to a point. Now you could like try to like bend that in a little bit, but you gotta like screw it in, and it gotta be a little bit like perfectly aligned to this. And that's another thing, like with this, you're trying to like, you know, poke it in and just, you know, get it all aligned. Now these suck because, I mean, it just, my screw hole is missing, and it's not really missing. I mean, my anodizer did the best he could to thread it and cap it, but it still burned through. This is kind of common. Now, we're out of the age of using DVD drives, so it doesn't bother me so much. And this is a 3,1, so like, I would just put SSDs in the DVD drive part, but because this is the 8,1, I would like to, I don't know, maybe just have one DVD drive for, I don't know what reasons, but I do just use an external USB DVD drive now. So if I could place that in there, and see, I've already dropped it and lost it. Again, it may not be perfect, but if you can, like, you could always slide this in, and with these little tiny screws, you could totally screw it in, and it will just stay in place, and just don't play with it or touch with it. But because of Apple engineering here, it is really hard to do, and it may not be perfect, but again, you're getting it for maybe just looks and niceness. And it will just look like that, all like screwed together, maybe a little bit more flushed and not used, but it's all good. I mean, like I said, who uses DVDs these days? So I'm going to try my best to apply the screws in there, see what I can do. After struggling trying to get this nice piece, and just like that, it kind of snipped in pretty easily. Like I said, you're not going to have that you know, screw hole really, but it's, you know, like I'm not planning on using that. Now I got to slide these up a little bit to kind of align them with the screw holes, so you might have to pry that back up, but just kind of have to fidget with it and play with it as best as you can. Yeah, Apple engineering, it's they kind of like built this device for you not to take it apart, but also like it's fun to take it apart. Like I don't know, I love these artwork projects I do. So I'm bending that. That's gonna like keep it there steady. But yeah, these and sorry, I'm like coming down with a cold, guys, but yeah, like you gotta just like fidget with it, and then once they screw in to those holes, you're gonna be pretty solid. Like it might not move, but like just don't touch it after you screw it in. Like they're fragile. I guess before I proceed any further, I think what I'm going to do is actually apply the DVD drives in first. And I believe my anodizer kept the threads on the back here for the extra screw holes, which this Mac Pro was, again, thanks given to me by a Apple fan from the Mac Pro upgrade group. Thank you again. Shout out to John. This actually was a special model, I believe. It is the 3.2 gigahertz, so that has got to be specially customized. Came with 2 of the Apple DVD drives, so because I don't want to see everything all purple, it's nice to see the screw holes on the side here, and I'm going to screw those in now. I like, again, how engineered these screws are. Like, they're just, like, perfectly, like, size, rounded, like, you know, square looking. And there we go. That's our DVD drive bay. And that's exactly what we're going to see when we're putting it in the system. Before I put on the big piece, I will do the power supply cover